Right friends, welcome back to Current Affairs. During the 51st week as well as 52nd week, that means during the last 2 weeks of 2016, we are presenting the recap modules of 2016, taking all the events of 2016 and whatever are important from your examination perspective, we covered in 12 parts. This is the first part. So 51st week will have 6 parts. 52nd week will have 6 parts. So all these 12 parts constitute 2016 as a whole at a glance, right? So I would like to emphasize wherever required, and please don't forget, from January 2nd onwards you will have new format as far as current affairs is concerned. So let us start. This is the first part of recap. Total you will have 12 parts. 6 parts during 51st week, 6 parts during 52nd week. First one is, because of mounting air pollution, Bharat Stage 6 emission norms will come into force from 2020. From 1st April 2020, Bharat Stage 6 norms will come into force. And 2 things I would like to tell you, so as to make sure that these are enforced from 1st April 2020, oil manufacturing companies, that is basically oil refining companies like Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum, Hindustan Petroleum, these type of oil refining companies have to upgrade their infrastructure. And the second aspect is, automobile manufacturers like Ashok Leyland, Maruti, Mahindra and Mahindra. So these automobile manufacturers have to upgrade their infrastructure. So these 2 things are essential for implementation from 1st April 2020. And if someone asks you, at present Bharat Stage 3 as well as Bharat Stage 4 fuel is being supplied across the country. And from 1st April 2017, entire country is expected to switch over to Bharat Stage 4, and from 2020, it will be Bharat Stage 6, bypassing Bharat Stage 5, right? And about automobile manufacturers as well as oil refining companies, I have already told you, but when you look at what will be reduced because of this, please look into this slide. If you look at diesel emissions, the reductions in nitrogen oxides from 0.5 grams per kilometer to 0.06 grams. There will be drastic reduction in nitrogen oxides as well as particulate matter. Particulate matter is very important. So by switching over to this Bharat Stage 6 norms, the biggest advantage will be massive reduction in particulate matter. So air quality will improve. I am restructuring this recap of 2016 so as to benefit your examinations. So please mind it. The second important point is Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana was launched. All of you are well aware about it. 2% premium for Kharif, 1.5% for Rabi, as well as 5% for horticulture and commercial crops. This is one part. And don't forget 2-3 aspects. One important aspect is, beyond what is to be paid by the farmer, their balance premium will be paid by the central government and respective state governments equally. That is one aspect. And the second aspect is, it will also provide coverage to localized risks of hailstorms, landslides, inundation, as well as most important, post-harvest losses of cyclonic and unseasonal rains. So these things don't forget. And I listed here Kharif crops, rice, maize, groundnut, sorghum, Rabi crops, wheat, barley, mustard, chickpea. Then if you look at focus on agriculture by this government, certain things don't forget. In addition to Fasal Bima Yojana, the next one is soil health cards. There are 14 crore farmers in the country. Government's intention is to give soil health cards to all the farmers. Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchayi Yojana, so as to increase irrigation potential in the country. Next, connecting agriculture markets electronically, that is e-national agriculture market. This is to connect 585 mandis across the country electronically. Then dedicated Kisan channel, 24/7 Kisan channel was launched. Then most important, please don't forget, Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. If someone asks you, the present government's initiative is Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. This is basically to promote organic farming. And here you may ask a question, what are the advantages of organic farming? Soil health will be protected, that is one biggest advantage. Second thing is, if organic farming is there, health of the human beings will be improved, that is second point. Then third one is, excessive dependence on fertilizers and pesticides will be reduced. So these are the advantages. And another important aspect is, government is going for cluster driven organic farming. Cluster will be developed, not individual farmers. So these things are very important when you look at farmers. Next one is, defense procurement procedure was unveiled. And 3-4 points I would like to tell you. It is based on Dhirendra Singh committee recommendations. More than that, the most important aspect is, priority will be given for IDDM category. What is meant by IDDM? Indigenously designed, developed and manufactured. So first priority will be given for IDDM category. Second point, more thrust on Make in India. Then greater role for private sector in innovation. And at the same time, big push for MSME sector. So these things are very important. Then Iran nuclear deal. After conclusion of Iran nuclear deal, Iran shifted enriched uranium. You may have a doubt what is meant by enriched uranium. Enriched uranium is nothing but U-235. Natural occurring uranium is U-238. Naturally occurring uranium is almost 99% U-238. But U-235 is required for making atom bombs. And for converting this U-238 to U-235, centrifuges are used. Now what Iran has done? Iran has got rid of 98% of enriched uranium, and centrifuges which are used for enriching uranium were reduced. Right? Subsequently, several Western countries lifted sanctions. Right? So, as the sanctions are lifted, now Iran will come on to the international trade and investment arena. Then Taiwan. Taiwan is into the news in recent times because of One China principle. You may ask, what is meant by One China principle? Before going into it, look at Taiwan. Taiwan population is around 2.5 crores. Capital is Taipei, and it is one of the world's top producers of computer goods. And though a small country, but its GDP is $500 billion. These are the aspects. And here if you look at Taiwan, here nationalist leader Chiang Kai-shek, who was lost in the civil war in 1949 to the communist forces of Mao Zedong, fled the mainland and went to Taiwan, and China is not recognizing Taiwan as independent country. China still feels it is part of China. So, China is insisting on the countries to accept this principle of One China so as to ensure diplomatic as well as trade relations. So, now Donald Trump had discussion with Taiwanese president, and don't forget, Tsai Ing-wen became the first woman president of Taiwan. And as Donald Trump spoke to Tsai Ing-wen, then China became furious. Right? So, this is all about One China principle, and she is the first woman president of Taiwan. Then public health emergency of international concern. In 2014, Ebola was declared as public health emergency of international concern. In 2016, ZIKA was declared, but later on it was withdrawn. When it was declared as public health emergency of international concern, what are the advantages? The advantages are it will result in more money as well as more research, right? And here one important aspect, don't forget, that is microcephaly and Guillain-Barré syndrome. These are associated with this. And remaining information I have given here. If you want, please go through it. Then public health emergency of international concern was recently removed. Then curative petition on section 377 of IPC referred to constitution bench by the Supreme Court. Here 2-3 important points. Section 377 of IPC, Indian Penal Code, and I will discuss in the second part about section 124A of IPC, section 499 and section 500 of IPC. But now let us restrict our discussion to section 377 of IPC. Section 377 of IPC says that homosexuality is a crime. And if you go back to history, Delhi High Court in July 2009 said that section 377 is in violation of fundamental rights guaranteed in the Constitution under articles 14, 15 and 21. Subsequently, Supreme Court kept it aside, and subsequently review petitions were also dismissed by the Supreme Court, and now Supreme Court agreed for curative petition. Here 2-3 important aspects. Section 377 pertaining to homosexuality, basically pertaining to LGBT communities. LGBT means lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender communities. And another important aspect is what is meant by curative petition. First is verdict, then review petition. The third stage is curative petition. When the Supreme Court feels that the principles of natural justice are violated, or when the judges are biased, under these circumstances, Supreme Court can permit the curative petition. So here section 377, what is meant by it, that is important, and what is meant by curative petition, that is important, right? Then one rank one pension scheme was implemented. This is basically for defense forces, retired employees of defense forces. That means the persons who have served for specified period irrespective of their date of retirement must get same pension. That is the meaning of one rank one pension. Then GM mustard is into the news. GM mustard finally government has not accepted, and here 2-3 important points, very important. One is what is the apex body for approval of genetically modified crops? Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee, or GEAC is the nodal authority. That is one part. Second part is what is meant by genetic modification. I have given here, genetic modification is nothing but cutting pieces of DNA from one organism and joining them into another DNA. That means joining them into a gap in the DNA of another organism. DNA means deoxyribonucleic acid, and it is the material inside the nucleus of cells. It carries genetic information, right? So this ends part 1. Please do join for part 2. Like this, we will have 12 parts so as to tell you about various events of importance during 2016. Have a nice day. Thank you.